The stars stretched endlessly across the void, a tapestry of light and shadow. Among them drifted the Zithra, a sleek alien vessel with silver wings and glowing engines, quietly cutting through the darkness. Inside, the crew moved with precision and purpose, each aware of the daring mission they had undertaken. "Approaching the boundary," announced the navigation officer, a tall being with iridescent skin named Kale. His voice carried a mix of excitement and caution. "Sensors detect no activity. Space ahead is clear." The captain, Rin, leaned forward in the command chair, her eyes bright with ambition. She had heard the legends of human space, territories no one dared enter. Some whispered of unstoppable fleets, others of planets so fortified that even the most advanced alien species could not breach them. The humans were said to be patient, strategic, and powerful beyond comprehension. "They say no one crosses into human space," Kale continued, scanning the blinking screens. "It is forbidden. All attempts end in failure, or worse." Rin's lips curved into a slight smile. "And that is exactly why we are crossing," she said firmly. "Curiosity is a stronger guide than fear. We will be the first to see what humans truly are." A low murmur went through the crew. Some were excited, others nervous. Among them was Lyra, a young scientist whose instincts were sharp and cautionary. She stepped forward, voice soft but clear. "Captain, I advise extreme care," Lyra said. "These warnings are not stories. There is reason every species avoids this region. We may not survive if the humans are aware of us." Rin turned to her gaze steady. "Lyra, I respect your caution, but we are explorers. We discover what others fear. If we succeed, we bring back knowledge that no one else has. The humans may be patient, yes, but patience can be observed and respected without surrendering to it." Lyra swallowed, uncertain. She had studied human records, the rare, fragmented reports gathered from distant scanners. Humans were unlike any species Zithra had encountered. They adapted quickly, anticipated threats, and protected themselves, silently. The stories were filled with admiration and fear, yet here they were, daring to enter the forbidden edge. Kale adjusted the ship's trajectory, moving closer to the invisible boundary that separated human space from the galaxy beyond. A field of faintly glowing particles marked the edge, almost imperceptible. Zithra passed through it silently, its shields humming softly. The first moments were tense. Every crew member felt the weight of history and caution pressing on them. No one spoke, and the only sound was the hum of engines and the quiet beeping of sensors. Then, the first sight appeared on the screens, a small, dark object floating in orbit around a planet. It was geometric, perfectly structured, and unlike any natural formation. "Is it abandoned?" Kale asked, awe tinging his voice. "Perhaps," Rin replied. "Or it could be a warning. Keep scanners active, move slowly." As Zithra approached, more details emerged. The object was immense, a network of towers, spires, and platforms. Energy lines ran between them, pulsing softly like veins. The ship's sensors detected no life forms outside, but the energy reading suggested a highly advanced civilization. Technology beyond anything the crew had ever seen. "This is incredible," whispered Lyra. "If the humans built this, then the stories were true. Their power is immense." Rin's eyes gleamed. "And yet we are here, observing, learning. That is what explorers do." The ship glided closer, sensors scanning every surface. Panels lit up with readings, showing the efficiency of the human structures, the way energy flowed through them in perfect harmony. Even the smallest systems seemed optimized beyond belief. "Captain," Kyle said, hesitation in his voice. "There are signals. Subtle, but they are watching us. I can feel it in the data. Someone is aware of our presence." Rin leaned back, considering. "Good. Let them watch. Let them see that curiosity drives us. We are not intruders. We are explorers." Let's see how far they will let us observe. Hours passed as Zethra orbited the massive structure. The crew marveled at the human engineering, its elegance and simplicity in design, yet impossibly strong and efficient. Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that they were being studied, that every move they made was being measured. It's like they know what we're thinking, she said quietly to Kale. Kyle nodded. It is unsettling, almost as if we are part of a test. Suddenly, the human monitoring system became clearer. Lights flared briefly on the platforms, a signal moving across the screens. It was not aggressive, but it was deliberate. Zithera was not alone. The humans were aware. Rin's expression remained calm. So it begins. Observation first, confrontation later if needed. That is their method, I believe. The crew continued their survey, recording every detail, sending minimal signals to avoid detection. They found small satellites, possibly for communication, orbiting quietly. They discovered structures that seemed to generate energy fields without visible engines. And they found traces of human life, plants, machines, and storage units. But no direct contact. Even as excitement filled the bridge, unease lingered. Lyra's instincts were correct. Humans were watching, and their patience was unnerving. Night fell over the planet below, though in space, darkness was absolute. Zithera moved silently, like a shadow among stars. The humans did not attack, but their presence was a constant reminder of the invisible boundaries that should never have been crossed. Rin studied the readings, her mind racing with possibilities. We need to go deeper, she said. This is only the edge. There is much more to discover, and the humans will not harm us unless provoked. We must proceed with caution and respect. Lyra frowned. Caution is good. Respect is vital. But curiosity can blind even the wisest. We may be seeing their tolerance now, but it will not last forever. Rin nodded slowly. I know. But every great discovery carries risk. We will remember this moment, and we will act carefully. As the Zithera continued deeper into the forbidden space, the crew felt both awe and tension. They had crossed a line that no other ship had dared to cross. They were explorers at the edge of legend, surrounded by a civilization that could end them without effort, yet chose not to. The story of the humans, whispered across the galaxy for generations, became real before their eyes. They were no longer abstract warnings or distant tales. They were alive, patient, and powerful beyond imagination. And in the quiet hum of the Zithera's engines, as the stars streamed past, each crew member understood the unspoken truth. They had entered human territory. The adventure had begun, but so had the danger. Lyra gazed at the blinking lights of the human platforms below and whispered to herself, no one crosses into human territory. And now, we have. The ship continued, deeper into the unknown, carrying the curiosity, courage, and perhaps the hubris of its crew into the heart of the forbidden. And somewhere in the shadows, the humans watched, their presence unseen, their power silent, waiting for the moment the intruders would realize the truth of their legend. The stars stretched endlessly around them, and the Zithera sailed on, oblivious to the silent, unyielding vigilance of the humans who had always defended their space with unmatched patience and intelligence. The Zithera drifted silently through the dim light of distant stars, its hull gleaming faintly as it moved past the human platforms below. The crew worked in tense anticipation, scanning every energy signature, every flicker of light. No one spoke louder than necessary. The weight of the forbidden territory pressed on their minds like gravity. Captain, Kale said, his voice low, the human energy readings are shifting. I think they know we are here. Rin did not turn from the main viewport. The platforms below glimmered in a strange rhythm, as if pulsing in time with some invisible heartbeat. Let them know we are careful, Kale. We are observers, not invaders. Proceed slowly. Lyra stood behind the captain, her eyes fixed on the screens. Something about the patterns of energy unsettled her. It's not just observation, she whispered. It's intelligence. They are tracking our thoughts, anticipating our scans and movements. Rin's hand hovered over the controls. Then we adapt. That is what explorers do. Every civilization has its ways. We respect them, we learn. Kyle adjusted the sensors, trying to detect a human vessel. But there was nothing visible, no ships, no movement, no signs of life. And yet, subtle anomalies in the readings suggested presence. Small disturbances in space. Energy fluctuations that could not be explained by natural phenomena. Hours passed in silence. The Zithra explored the outskirts of the human platforms, marveling at their structure. Massive towers rose from the surfaces of planets connected by glowing energy bridges. Orbital platforms rotated with perfect precision, their surfaces studded with crystalline structures that glowed with an inner light. The humans had built not for show but for function, efficiency, and perhaps security beyond imagination. "Captain," Kale said, pointing to a faint signature on the screen. "There's something moving. A ship, maybe. But it's cloaked. We can only detect it indirectly." Rin's eyes narrowed. "Show it to me." She leaned closer to the display, studying the subtle shimmer. "Clever," she muttered. "They hide, but they cannot erase themselves completely. Whoever is aboard is patient, careful, and intelligent." Lyra stepped forward, concern clear in her voice. "Cloaked ships. They're studying us. They could attack any time, though. Maybe they won't. Humans often do not act immediately. They wait, calculate, and then they act with precision." Rin nodded slowly. "We are in their space. That is expected. Observation first, engagement only if necessary. Do not panic. Study and record everything." The crew continued scanning, recording, and mapping. They found signs of minor human settlements, but no one lived openly outside the energy shields. Machines maintained the structures with quiet efficiency. Drones floated through the air, invisible to the naked eye but detectable on advanced sensors. Lyra could feel the weight of being watched. Every small decision, the direction of movement, the intensity of their scans, even the angle of the ship seemed to ripple through the unseen eyes of the humans. "It's as if they know what we're thinking," she whispered. "They anticipate our actions." "Good," Rin said softly, almost to herself. "Then we must think carefully. Every movement has meaning. Every scan must respect them." Suddenly, the Zythera's sensors picked up a new signal. It was faint, structured, and deliberate. A burst of energy moved in a pattern across the displays, almost like a message, but it was not in any language the crew had encountered. Symbols blinked, flowed, and disappeared before their scanners could fully interpret them. "Captain, that's a communication," Lyra said, her voice trembling with awe. "They are trying to speak with us." Rin studied the symbols. "They are not aggressive, at least not yet, but they are precise. They want us to know they are aware. That is their first message, awareness without attack, a warning without hostility." The crew stared at the patterns, feeling both fascination and fear. This was not the chaotic first contact they had imagined. There were no demands, no threats, no warships firing lasers. There was control, intelligence, and calm calculation. Humans were different. They did not rush. They observed, measured, and waited. Kale frowned. "How do we respond? Can we send a signal back?" Rin shook her head. "No. Any direct communication could be misinterpreted. For now, we only observe. Record everything. Learn. That is our mission." Lyra moved to another console, scanning the platform more closely. "They are everywhere," she murmured. "Or at least they have the ability to be. Drones, hidden ships, energy sensors. They cover every approach. No one could enter this space without being noticed." Rin's gaze remained steady. "And yet we are here. That is proof that caution can allow observation. That is proof that patience can let us learn without confrontation." The crew continued their careful survey, moving closer to the central structure of the human platforms. It was enormous, a network of towers, bridges, and energy nodes. Each section seemed to pulse with quiet life, though no human was visible. The Zithera's sensors detected subtle variations in energy output, suggesting activity deep inside the structures. "This is incredible," Kale whispered. "They have technology far beyond our own. And yet, it is hidden, patient, precise." Rin nodded. "That is what makes them strong. They do not need to show power to prove it. Their strength is in knowledge, planning, and anticipation. Hours stretched into cycles. The Zithera moved carefully, never making sudden maneuvers. Every sensor reading, every energy fluctuation, every shift in the platform's glow was recorded and analyzed. Lyra could feel the tension in the air, the invisible weight of human observation pressing down like a silent hand. Suddenly, a small vessel emerged from behind a tower. It was sleek, smaller than the Zithera, moving with perfect control, yet it made no noise, left no trail, and did not appear on conventional scanners. The crew watched in stunned silence as the vessel moved around them, weaving between the platforms with fluid precision. "Captain, it's them," Kale said, awe and fear in his voice. "They are here, watching us directly." Rin's hand rested on the controls. "And we watch them back, indirectly. But we do not provoke. Patience is our ally." Lyra studied the vessel, noting the elegance of its design, the way it moved almost like a living being. "It's intelligent," she said softly. "Not just controlled by programming. It reacts, predicts, adapts. This is what we are dealing with." For hours, the small human vessel observed Zithera, then disappeared as quietly as it had come. The crew felt the presence linger, a reminder that the humans were always aware, always in control, and always patient. Rin finally broke the silence. "They are testing us. Not attacking, but testing. That is the way of the humans. And we must respond by being careful, observant, and respectful." Lyra nodded, though her hands trembled slightly. "We have never seen beings like this. They could destroy us in an instant. And yet, they wait. They watch. They teach a lesson without aggression." Kale spoke, voice low and thoughtful. "Perhaps that is why no one crosses into human territory. Not because they are cruel or aggressive, but because they are precise, calculating, patient beyond comprehension." Rin smiled faintly, her eyes returning to the viewport. The platforms glowed quietly beneath them, the humans hidden within their structures, observing every move. "Then we must learn from their patience, observe with care, respect their power, and remember, curiosity must always be tempered with caution." As the Zithera continued its slow journey through the forbidden edge, the crew felt a mixture of awe, fear, and exhilaration. They had seen the humans not in battle, not in aggression, but in quiet, undeniable strength. They had glimpsed the truth behind the legends, and somewhere in the shadows beyond sensors and scanners the humans watched. They did not attack. They did not communicate in words. They observed, patient and silent, letting the intruders understand that every move, every thought, every breath was seen and measured. Lyra whispered to herself, "They are more than a civilization. They are a lesson." The Zithera sailed onward, deeper into human space, carrying its crew into the heart of mystery, curiosity, and danger. The first contact had occurred, not through words or weapons, but through silent observation. And the crew knew that the humans were already shaping the story of their visit, a story that would leave them changed forever. For now, the humans did not strike. They did not warn in words. They only watched, waiting, patient as the stars themselves. And the Zithera, bold and curious, drifted further into the unknown, unaware of the trials that would soon test not their technology, but their very understanding of power, intelligence, and the meaning of human strength. The Zithera floated deeper into human space, past the glowing platforms and silent towers, into a region no alien vessel had ever dared to explore. The air inside the ship, though artificial, felt heavy with anticipation. The crew worked silently, their eyes flicking between sensors, holographic displays, and the dark stretch of stars outside. Captain Rin leaned in her chair, scanning the latest readings. "The central hub is just ahead," she said. "Energy signatures suggest immense activity, but still no direct contact. We are close enough to learn more. Proceed." Lyra's hand hovered over the console. Her instincts screamed caution, yet curiosity and duty propelled her forward. "Captain, every signal we detect is almost like they are anticipating our movements. We may be entering a space we cannot fully control." Rin's gaze hardened, but she did not waver. "That is exactly why we must continue. Observation is our mission. Discovery is worth the risk." Kale adjusted the sensors, focusing on a dense cluster of energy readings ahead. "These readings, they are unlike anything we've ever seen. Structures of vessels, energy flows that do not match our understanding of physics. It's almost alive." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. They had expected advanced technology, yes, but the precision and subtle complexity of human constructs went far beyond imagination. Every system, every energy pulse, every hidden drone seemed to have a purpose, and yet humans themselves remained unseen. As Zithra glided closer to the core of the human installations, the crew's excitement grew. Some whispered among themselves, sharing awe and speculation. Others, like Lyra, focused on the potential danger. "We are tempting them," she warned quietly to Kale. "The closer we get, the more noticeable we become. I can feel it. Every shift in their energy fields. It's like a heartbeat, and it reacts to us." Rin overheard and smiled faintly. "Not all reactions are attacks. They are measuring, observing, learning. That is the difference between their species and ours. We rush, we assume. They wait and calculate." Hours passed as Zithra navigated through a maze of orbital platforms and energy fields. The human technology was subtle but powerful, a demonstration of intelligence rather than aggression. The crew mapped out power sources, energy conduits, and even what seemed like defense grids, though none had activated against them. Then Kale's console beeped sharply. "Captain, multiple vessels cloaked and moving around us. They are close." Rin leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Show me." The screen flickered, revealing faint traces of movement, ships that should not have been visible. They moved, with extraordinary precision, cutting across the platforms like threads in a loom, weaving patterns too perfect for coincidence. "They're studying us," Lyra whispered. "Not attacking, but testing. Every path we take is anticipated." Rin nodded. "Exactly, and that is what makes them dangerous. Not weapons, not numbers, but knowledge and patience. We proceed carefully." The Zithra's crew continued their exploration, venturing closer to what they believed was the central human hub. They discovered small, floating satellites orbiting the platforms, collecting data silently, maintaining the hidden systems. The humans had covered every approach, every angle, every possible path of intrusion. But as the alien crew grew confident, hubris began to creep in. "We are not being attacked," one engineer murmured. "Their patience has limits. Perhaps they are not as capable as the legends suggest." Rin shook her head, sensing the shift in tone. "Do not underestimate them," she warned. "Patience is strength. Observation is power. That is what sets them apart." Yet Kale, sensing opportunity, leaned over the navigation console. "Captain, if we push just a little further, we might reach a central station, the core of their system. The knowledge there, it could change everything for us." Rin hesitated. "Lyra, your thoughts?" Lyra's eyes darkened. "I advise against it. We are intruding into space no one should touch. Every step forward increases risk. If we trigger them, I fear we cannot escape quickly enough." Rin nodded slowly. "I understand, but we must weigh risk and reward. Observation is safe, yes, but only so far. Knowledge comes at a price, and we may have to pay it." The Zithra moved forward, guided by ambition and curiosity. They reached the edge of what appeared to be a massive human hub, a planet-sized structure of towers, energy bridges, and orbital rings. The energy signatures were overwhelming, like a heartbeat that pulsed in unison with the stars. Every move the Zythera made seemed anticipated, yet no attack came. Hours turned into cycles, and the crew grew bolder. They began to experiment. Small hacks into the energy grid, scanning hidden conduits, probing satellites for data. Each attempt was met with subtle countermeasures, shifts in energy, rerouting of signals, a drone appearing silently and disappearing again. Lyra watched the screens, her unease growing. "Captain, they are not weak. They are letting us probe, yes, but every response and every adjustment, it is a lesson. We are being tested, and we may not understand the consequences until it is too late." Rin nodded, understanding the warning but unwilling to retreat. "Then we observe and learn. Respect their limits, but continue. This is what explorers do." The Zythera pressed forward, deeper into the heart of human territory. They discovered systems that could manipulate gravity, channels that conducted energy in ways defying known physics, and structures that seemed to anticipate motion before it occurred. The crew's excitement grew with each discovery. Kyle leaned back, voice tinged with awe. "They are beyond anything we imagined, not just in power, but in intelligence. Every system here, it reacts, adapts, predicts. We cannot fully comprehend it." Lyra agreed. "Yes, but comprehension is not required for survival. They have made sure of that. We can see their strength even if we cannot match it, and we must respect it." Despite the warnings, the crew's confidence swelled. "They haven't attacked," one engineer said. "They are patient. Maybe they are not as unstoppable as we thought." Lyra's eyes flashed with concern. "That is exactly what they want. Confidence blinds. Hubris leads to mistakes. Do not forget, this is human space, not a playground." Rin pressed her lips together, sensing the growing arrogance among the crew. She remained calm, guiding the Zythera carefully. But inside, she knew the subtle truth. Humans did not act immediately, but their patience was deliberate, calculated, and lethal if ignored. Suddenly the sensors picked up a faint ripple in space, a pattern unlike anything natural. It moved around the Zythera with astonishing speed, almost anticipating their actions. "Captain, we are being surrounded," Kyle whispered. "Not in force, but enclosed. Every possible exit, every path we considered, there is a presence there. Invisible yet undeniable." Rin's eyes narrowed. "Then we are at the edge of understanding. Every move we make now is watched, every action measured. Proceed with extreme caution." For hours, the Zythera maneuvered through the invisible grid of human observation. Every probe, every scan, every attempt to approach the central hub triggered subtle adjustments in the energy fields around them. They were not attacked, not yet, but the warning was clear. Humans controlled the space completely without aggression. Lyra's voice trembled slightly as she spoke to Rin. "We have learned much, yes, but we are being lured. Hubris will be our undoing if we do not respect them. They are shaping our actions without even revealing themselves fully." Rin nodded, her eyes fixed on the glowing patterns ahead. "We are explorers. Knowledge is worth the risk. But you are right. We move carefully with respect and always aware. They are not ordinary beings. They are a civilization unlike any other." As the Zythera floated at the edge of the massive human hub, the crew felt both exhilaration and fear. They had come seeking knowledge, and they had found it. Yet the weight of observation, the subtle manipulations of the humans, and the undeniable presence of power beyond their understanding left them unsettled. Somewhere in the shadows, the humans waited. They had allowed the Zythera to explore, to probe, to test their patience. They had measured every action, anticipated every thought. And now, silently, the stage was set. The aliens' hubris, their confidence in their own cleverness, was drawing them closer to a lesson they could not yet understand. The stars stretched endlessly around them, but the Zythera was no longer alone. Invisible eyes watched from every angle, every sensor, every energy pulse, and the humans, patient as ever, prepared to demonstrate that true power is not always Loud, not always immediate, but always present. Precise and undeniable. The lure of hubris had begun to take hold. The Zithra's crew had glimpsed the vast intelligence of humanity, and they believed they could measure it, control it, or learn from it without consequence. But the humans were not ordinary. And the first real challenge, the first true test, was approaching faster than anyone aboard the Zithra realized. The Zithra drifted deeper into the heart of human space, the crew intoxicated by discovery yet haunted by unease. Every system they scanned, every structure they observed, felt alive, as if the humans themselves were reaching through the void to measure them. Captain Rin sat rigid in the command chair, her eyes scanning the displays, her mind alert to every subtle anomaly. "Captain," Kyle said, voice tense, "we are receiving interference. Subtle, but intentional. Something is surrounding us. Every exit, every route we have plotted, it's blocked, invisible yet present." Rin's fingers tightened around the console. "Show me." The main screen flickered, revealing faint energy patterns overlaying every approach and escape path. They were trapped, not by walls or weapons, but by unseen forces, controlled with precision and patience. Lyra leaned forward, her eyes wide, with realization. They are here. They've been waiting. This is the trap I feared. Every step we took, every probe, every scan, they anticipated it. They've led us exactly where they want. Rin nodded slowly, her mind racing. Then, "We observe. Remain calm. Every move matters now." The Zithra shuddered slightly as sensors detected multiple cloaked human vessels closing in. They moved silently, impossibly fast, weaving between platforms and energy conduits with effortless precision. The crew watched in awe as the invisible net tightened around them, and for the first time the humans revealed themselves, not with attack but with undeniable presence. Kale's voice was quiet, almost in disbelief. "Captain, we cannot escape. They are everywhere. Every path is anticipated, every maneuver countered. They are in control." Rin's jaw set. "Then we must respect their control. Do not panic. This is a test, a demonstration, and we will learn." The human vessels materialized fully as the Zithra approached the central hub. Sleek, angular, and silently glowing, they surrounded the alien ship in a perfect formation. The humans did not fire, they did not threaten. They simply existed in precise coordination, a silent, unyielding reminder of their power. Lyra swallowed hard. They don't need to attack. They could destroy us with a single strike. Yet, they are holding back. Every action, measured. Patient. Rin nodded. That is their strength. Observe it, learn it, and do not provoke it. A new signal appeared on the screens, structured, deliberate, impossible to ignore. The humans communicated not in words, but in intent, a broadcast that carried clarity, authority, and undeniable intelligence. The message was simple. You are here without permission. You are seen, and your actions have consequences. Kale tried to interpret the symbols. It's a warning, but more than that. They want us to understand our place. They are teaching, without aggression. Lyra's hands trembled slightly as she spoke. This is what I feared. Their patience is infinite, but it is not passive. We are learning the hard way. Rin leaned forward. Then we must respond with respect, observation without intrusion, curiosity without arrogance. We are guests in their space, and we have been reminded of the rules. For hours, the Zithra remained trapped within the invisible web of human ships. Every attempt to move, to scan, to probe was met with subtle countermeasures. Energy fields shifted, sensor readings scrambled, pathways adjusted. The humans demonstrated control without violence, leaving the crew both awestruck and fearful. Lyra studied the displays. They are teaching us. Every action we take, they are shaping it. We are learning without realizing it. And if we misstep... Her voice trailed off, unspoken fear filling the bridge. Rin's eyes were steady. Then we move carefully. We learn their methods, and we do not provoke. Every civilization has its limits. Humans, seemed to have perfected patience as a weapon. The crew worked together, following the captain's orders, avoiding any action that could be seen as aggression. They recorded everything: the movement of ships, the energy fluctuations, the subtle adjustments in the invisible grids. Every detail was a lesson in strategy, intelligence, and control. Hours passed, and then the humans made the next move. Small vessel detached from the formation and moved closer to the Zithera. It did not fire. It did not communicate directly. Yet the presence was undeniable, a silent, powerful reminder that humans were aware of every thought and every decision. Aboard the alien ship, Kale whispered, "They are close. Too close. And yet, they are not attacking." Why? Rin's gaze remained steady. Because this is not about destruction. This is about understanding. They do not need to strike to show their strength. And that is a lesson we must absorb. The vessel moved with flawless precision, matching every maneuver of the Zithera, countering every adjustment the crew attempted. Lyra's hands flew over the console, trying to compensate, but it was useless. The humans were always a step ahead. Unseen yet perfectly synchronized. They are teaching without words, she muttered. Every movement we make, it is a response to our choices. They are showing us what hubris brings. Rin nodded. And we must listen, observe, learn. This is what explorers face, knowledge tempered by caution. And this is a civilization unlike any other. The human vessel backed away slightly, and a subtle energy pulse moved across the space around them. It was not harmful, but it was precise, measuring, and unmistakably deliberate. The crew felt the weight of the message. We are aware. We control. We wait. You are intruders, and your curiosity has limits. Lyra whispered, "We have never encountered beings like this. They do not act with emotion. They act with logic, patience, and absolute understanding. And that is terrifying." Rin's fingers hovered over the console. "Then we respect it. We continue only with caution and understanding. Our curiosity brought us here, but our humility will keep us alive." Hours stretched into cycles as the Zithera remained trapped. Every energy pulse, every subtle movement of the human vessels, every shift in the invisible fields was a lesson in intelligence and control. The crew realized that humans did not rely on brute force. They relied on patience, knowledge, and the ability to shape outcomes without ever striking a blow. Kale finally spoke, voice low and filled with awe. "Captain, we are learning more than we imagined. Not about their technology, but about them. Their strength is not weapons. It is thought, strategy, and restraint. They are masters of space without needing to fight." Lyra's eyes were wide. "And that is why no one crosses into human territory. Not because they cannot be challenged, but because they teach lessons that are impossible to escape." Rin nodded, her gaze unwavering. "And we are being taught. Observe, record, respect. That is all we can do. Hubris is dangerous, but understanding is survival." The small human vessel moved back, rejoining the formation around the Zithera. The trap remained, but it was now clear. Humans were not merely protecting their space. They were demonstrating power, patience, and intelligence beyond comprehension. Every movement of the alien ship had been anticipated, every choice subtly guided. Lyra whispered again. "We have learned the hard way. Curiosity without respect leads here, to this moment." Rin's eyes flicked to the screens, studying the patterns, the grids, the energy flows. "And we will remember, humans are more than stories. They are a civilization that shapes events before they happen. That is their true strength." The crew settled into silence, absorbing the lesson. They had survived the trap not by cleverness, not by technology, but by restraint, observation, and respect for a power far beyond their own. As the Zithera floated, within the invisible boundaries of human control, The stars stretched endlessly around them. Every ship, every platform, every pulse of energy whispered a single truth. Humans were patient, precise, and unyielding. They did not need aggression to demonstrate dominance. They only needed presence, intelligence, and time. The Zithera's crew understood finally that they had entered a space no one should cross lightly. The humans had not attacked. They had not destroyed. Yet the lesson had been given, clear and unavoidable. Curiosity carries risk. Hubris invites regret. Somewhere in the silent heart of human space, the fleet remained vigilant. They did not celebrate the aliens' arrival. They did not react with emotion. They waited, patient, precise, and unstoppable in their subtle mastery of every movement. And the Zithera, bold and curious, drifted within the invisible cage of human intelligence, carrying the weight of knowledge, awe, and the unspoken understanding that their journey through this forbidden space had changed them forever. The Zithera remained suspended in human space, encircled by the silent, precise fleet that had so carefully trapped it. The crew no longer moved freely as they had before. Every decision carried weight. Every maneuver was calculated. Captain Rin sat in the command chair, her mind racing as she absorbed the lesson the humans had been teaching all along. "They are waiting," Kale said quietly. "Not attacking, not threatening, just waiting, measuring our reactions, our patience, and perhaps our understanding." Lyra's fingers trembled as she traced the glowing lines of energy on the display. "It is astonishing. They do not need weapons to control space. Their presence is enough. Every decision we've made has been anticipated, yet we are still alive. That is power unlike anything I have ever known." Rin nodded slowly. "Yes, they are showing us that true strength is not always in force. It is in patience, knowledge, and the ability to guide events without aggression. That is their message." The Zythera crew had spent what felt like endless cycles inside the invisible web of human control. They had attempted to probe systems, analyze structures, and test boundaries. But every action had been countered subtly, every step anticipated, every thought reflected in the energy fields around them. The humans did not rush, did not shout, did not attack. They only observed and adjusted, demonstrating an intelligence and power that the crew could barely comprehend. Finally, a communication appeared on the screen. Not symbols, not code, but a clear, calm projection of intent. The humans did not speak in words the Zithera crew could translate, yet the meaning was unmistakable. You are seen, you have intruded, and the lesson is given. Leave, and carry the understanding with you. Kale exhaled slowly. They are giving us a choice. Leave, and we will depart alive. Lyra's gaze was steady, though her heart pounded. Not just alive, but wiser and humbled. This is the first time any of us have truly understood what they are capable of. They are patient, precise, and extraordinary. Rin stood, her eyes fixed on the distant energy bridges and orbital towers. Then we take the lesson. Not technology, not power, but understanding, respect. That is what we must carry back to our people. Curiosity is our guide, yes, but humility is our shield. The Zithera slowly reversed course, moving with care through the invisible grids that had once trapped them. Every movement was deliberate, every adjustment cautious. The human vessels followed silently, their presence unmistakable, yet never threatening. Hours passed as the ship retraced its path, leaving the central hub behind. The crew worked in quiet reverence, recording every detail, mapping every structure, yet understanding that the humans had given them more than knowledge. They had given them perspective. Lyra finally spoke, her voice soft but steady. "We have learned something no sensors, no data, no records could teach. The humans are more than a civilization. They are a standard of patience, strategy, and intelligence. We cannot match them. We cannot challenge them. We can only respect them and remember." Kale nodded. It is humbling, but also inspiring, to see a species capable of this. It changes how we see the galaxy, how we see ourselves. Rin's voice carried authority and calm wisdom. And that is the lesson we bring home. Humans are not only strong, they are masters of thought, of timing, and of presence. Their strength is quiet, but absolute. Any who ignore that will regret it. And we have been granted the privilege to witness it firsthand. As the Zithra continued its journey outward, the crew reflected on their experiences. They had entered human space with excitement, curiosity, and perhaps a hint of arrogance. They had believed that careful observation and clever maneuvering could protect them. But the humans had revealed the truth. Intelligence, patience, and understanding of consequence were more powerful than technology or numbers. The stars stretched endlessly around them, and for the first time, the crew felt small, not in fear of destruction, but in awe of the vastness of human capability. Every flicker of light from the distant platforms, every shift in the invisible energy grids, every precise movement of human vessels reminded them of the subtle mastery they had witnessed. Rin finally addressed the crew. "We will return home. With more than maps or recordings, we return with wisdom, respect for what we do not yet understand, and an understanding that hubris can blind even the most capable explorers." Lyra nodded, her eyes reflecting both relief and admiration. "They did not attack us, they did not destroy us. Yet we have never felt a stronger lesson in our lives, and I will never forget it." Kyle adjusted the sensors one last time, ensuring the Zithra's path remained clear. "It is remarkable," he said quietly. "They can be so powerful and so restrained at the same time. They are humanity at its finest." The crew moved in silent agreement. They had glimpsed the truth of the legends, experienced the weight of human observation, and understood the limits of their own ambition. The lesson was clear. Respect, patience, and strategy could outweigh force and brute power. The humans had shown them that the greatest strength was knowing when not to act. As Zithra approached the boundary of human space, the familiar glow of stars and nebulae beyond the forbidden region appeared. The humans did not pursue, did not signal, did not warn. They allowed the intruders to leave, carrying with them the memory of a civilization unlike any other. Rin watched the energy fields fade behind them, and a quiet smile touched her lips. "We have been fortunate," she said. "Fortunate to learn, fortunate to witness, fortunate to leave with our lives and with our understanding intact." Lyra exhaled slowly, looking at the stars ahead. "Fortunate, yes, but forever changed. We will carry this knowledge back to our people, and perhaps in time others will understand what we have seen here." Kale added quietly, "They will be remembered in stories and in cautionary tales, not just for their power but for the wisdom of their patience. No one crosses into human territory lightly, and now we know why." The Zithra continued its journey home, moving through familiar space with a renewed sense of purpose and humility. The stars stretched endlessly before them, but the memory of human precision, intelligence, and patience lingered in their minds like a guiding light. And somewhere, far beyond sensors and scanners, the humans observed the retreating Zithra silently. They had given the lesson, delivered with patience and intelligence without aggression or harm. They returned to their quiet vigilance, ready to protect their territory again, patient as ever, their presence a reminder that true strength does not always roar. It endures, calculates, and prevails. The Zithra's crew looked back once at the fading glow of the human installations and understood fully the magnitude of what they had experienced. They had crossed into a space no one dared, faced a civilization beyond comprehension, and emerged alive, but forever changed. The stories of humans would now carry more than legend. They would carry truth. Rin spoke quietly, almost to herself, as the stars stretched endlessly before them. "No one crosses into human territory and lives unchanged. We are witnesses to their patience, intelligence, and power, And we will remember. Lyra nodded, feeling the weight of experience settle into her mind. We have learned more than we could have imagined. We return not with conquest, but with understanding. And that is more valuable than anything else, Kyle added softly. And we will tell the story, not of humans as conquerors, but as beings of intelligence, patience, and wisdom. They are remarkable. As the Zithra moved further away, human space returned to quiet vigilance, the platforms glowing softly, the vessels silent, waiting patient as ever, and the Zithra's crew, forever changed, carried with them the ultimate lesson of human strength, that true power lies not in aggression or force, but in knowledge, patience, and unyielding control over one's own destiny. And across the galaxy, in distant star systems, whispers would spread of the aliens who dared to cross the forbidden edge, and of the humans who awaited, patient, precise, and unforgettable.